Mm-hmm. Let's do vibing out.
Yeah, I found this one. I don't need no lyrics, man. All these lyrics always mess up the sound.
Mm-hmm. You're a bass head like me.
What? I'm not a bass head, bro. You may be a bass head, but I'm not a bass head. Sorry.
You're thinking about just drugs. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I know exactly what you're doing. Don't do that to me. Man, no. Sorry, you can't see that one. Let me get it better focus for you. It's over here. There it is. Yep. There it is. Gotcha. Go ahead.
Hairy ass knuckles, motherfucker. I mean,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Player stats. What the fuck I got here? I'm looking at this.
Just a rude individual. I don't know why I even deal with you, man.
Me. I'm okay. I'm that dude. Gotcha.
Cussing and just disrespect that I endure dealing with you. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
You just called me a basehead as in like the drug person. I'm saying I'm like, no.
You called
no, because I wasn't referring to the drug thing. I referred to the drug thing. Yeah, exactly.
You didn't give me any context.
Whatever.
Just like
I saw your ass.
I never said I was a basehead.
I saw your ass over there blushing, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit here? This motherfucker saying call me a basehead. And sitting there like, when I call you out on shit, then you gonna start busting and shit. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Don't do that shit to me. One more time. Hairy ass knuckle 2 and all.
All right,
you know what? Both of them. Both these motherfuckers, just for your ass. For real.
I'm glad I got my iPad in front of my screen. I can't be.
Yeah, I hope you caught all this shit on recording too. Publish this shit. Publish this bullshit out there. How the fuck you be talking to my ass? I'm saying like this motherfucker disrespectful as fuck. Just sitting here talking in any kind of fucking way you want to me. Talking out the side of your goddamn mouth. Oh fuck, you forgot the fuck you talking to. Why don't you deal with this bullshit? Yeah. I bet you don't. The asshole in you just keeps coming out every goddamn time. I'm not sure why. I get to feel the brunt of this shit. I don't understand why. You shouldn't. I just think you're a nice person. Everybody thinks you're nice.
I don't know what you think. I mean, you shot me double birds. I don't know what you think, man. I think you're very disrespectful as a human being.
I think you just called me a basehead. I just don't understand why you did that. And referring to like a drug person, it's like I'm not a drug.
Tell you, that's the only way. That's the only way that I've heard basehead referred was in the drugged out kind. That's the only way I've heard it. So if you're referring to,
we were talking about music. And
you said I'm a basehead.
Yeah, just like me in music, because you're like fuck the lyrics and stuff. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's what that is. You did. We were like context clues. It's okay. I got it. Don't worry about it.
Can we get started, David? Are you done?
Better now? Big C, whenever
better now, David.
Hey, I'm on your schedule. I'm on your schedule. Whenever you're ready, let's do it.
I don't know.
We're recording right now. I'm ready.
I hit record a while ago. I hit record a while ago.
I know. Let's go. Like I said, I hope you get all this stuff, all these damn bloopers you be doing. Let's do this.
These bloopers. I don't know what you're.
Yeah. This stuff here, when people like don't know what you be saying to me, I'm like, I hope they get all this stuff.
To you.
Oh, they call it. No, these are outtakes,
you're the victim,
not bloopers. Outtakes. The outtakes.
Playing the victim? Is that what you're doing?
You just called me the basehead in reference to like drugs. You did too.
I just
you said I'm not a basehead. You might be a basehead. I'm like, wow, you talking about drugs and shit? I'm like, that's not a thing. What were you talking
about, David? I don't know what you were talking
about. I was talking about music.
All right, can we like? I have children to pick up from school.
Yes, let's do this. What you got? You got to pick up cash and CJ?
Gabba. Just jabba.
Don't be late picking up my dues. Call these.
Mouth just the bumping. The gums are bumping.
All right, we start talking about these songs?
You got to get the last word in. You feel better? Feel good about yourself?
Red leather, yellow leather.
I don't need to do that right now. I did enough talking.
I did.
You go ahead.
You think it's all about you? I just did it.
You haven't done this one time yet, so I thought you were talking about
I did it last time when you did it. I'm like,
are we done?
You laughed at me.
Are we done? We done now? You want to get the last
word?
Get the last word in? 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome, Hawk fans. Welcome to another episode of Hawk Talk. I am your host, Colin Cole, and I'm joined today with my resident guest host, the 3-year starter at right tackle, the 2-year all-conference standout, Mr. David Porter. David, thank you for joining me today.
Colin Cole, great to be here, man. Always fun to be here with you. We don't always talk about fun topics, but I think this week, it's pretty good.
So what David is referring to is, as everybody knows, the Hawks are coming off of their win versus the Northwestern Wildcats, a win of a score of 33-13 against the then 1-6, now 1-7 Northwestern Wildcats. The Hawks have brought their record to 4-4 and back to even in their conference. They're back to even in the record for the 2022 season. And they have a few games left in the schedule, David. But before we jump into that, let's go back to this Northwestern game and how well it looked as though this Hawkeye offense was able to play, considering how difficult it's been for them over the last number of games. They were able to amass 33 points. The offense did a tremendous job. They scored 3 touchdowns in the game. And it was a breath of fresh air to see the offense actually take over the game and make some great plays. We saw Arlen Bruce make some great plays. We saw Spencer Petras get some things done with his legs. That he hasn't done all season. He actually broke the pocket. He actually moved around in the pocket some as well, and did a tremendous job of just distributing the ball. Luke Lachey caught a touchdown, and Arlen Bruce had that nice jet sweep that got him into the end zone off of that Monty Potter bomb fullback leading block. Tremendous play by those guys in the offense. What do you want to get started, David? What is your takeaway from the game?
The offense came out and performed well. The first drive ended up in a field goal. Right, the defense came out and they held Northwestern down. They had to punt the ball. Then we go back on offense and we score a touchdown. Right, we started out pretty fast. I was hoping we would get that first drive in for a touchdown, but that just didn't happen. Either way, we came out, started fast, we scored points. The offense, like you said, it just seemed to be clicking, which is great, right? The kids that are playing, I love to see them get a win in there. It was against Northwestern, as you alluded to, or as you said earlier. They're 1-6 at the time. They're now 1-7. But this is a great confidence booster. It really is. The guys need to see this. We talked about this before the game. We want that offensive line being able to fire off. And we saw that they actually did fire off the ball. They were actually able to get the run fits in, and they did establish themselves and start to impose their will. That's something that they just have to get into the rhythm of doing over and over again, right? This is a team that they're supposed to win and handle properly. And I think they did do that for the most part. The defense gave up 13 points, 2 touchdowns. And I would love to see them finish that game, especially against this kind of an opponent, where they just hold them to goose eggs all the way through. I know that this is not the kind of caliber team that we have been facing the first half of the season. But coming into this game, I'd love to see our defense just really just hit these guys in the mouth and hold them to blanks. Great victory overall. We did see a shank punt by our Aussie bomber. We're not used to seeing that at all, not from Torrey. I think that hit at Ohio State when he ran that fake punt really may have taken something out of him. But we'll see as the season goes on there. But overall, great team win, great team victory against the team we were supposed to win. I think all the people had a 90% chance of winning, close to that. So, I'm great. I'm very happy with the victory. Great confidence booster. Great things to build off of.
Very much so. Very much so. We saw some tremendous things happen in the game. Spencer went 21 for 30, 220 yards passing with 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions. Very impressed with his ability to complete the ball to our guys and be exclusively doing so. Northwestern had their hands on the ball a couple times, however, no interceptions, and he distributed the ball very well. Sam Laporta, he led all receivers in the game as he's done all season with 5. But Nico Reganey caught 4 passes. Deontay Vines caught 2 passes. LaShawn Williams caught 3 passes. Arlen Bruce had himself 2 passes and a rushing touchdown, like I mentioned. And so the guys, Monty Potterbomb, make sure I put his name out there. He had himself a catch. Brody Brett caught 3. Luke Lachey caught him 1. It was 1,000%, a 1-for-1 touchdown. So pretty awesome job of spreading the ball around. And it was good to see that he looked as though he was a little bit more comfortable. The offensive line provided more of a pocket for him, and he looked like he was really more comfortable delivering the shots. It was impressive to see how much of a night and day difference it has been since from what we've seen throughout the season. Very impressed with how things turned out. But we talked about you talked about the opponent. Regardless, he definitely looked a lot better than what we've seen. Caleb Johnson started the game. The freshman has taken over the starting role and has carried the bulk of the load. He did a tremendous job. He almost got in there in the end zone on one carry, man. He had 14 for 88, and Sean Williams was the next highest rusher with 11 for 43. Arlen Bruce, like I mentioned, had that 1 touchdown off of 3 carries. So the running game has at least in this game, has shown up. It was tremendous to see overall because the Hawks rushed for 173 total yards compared to 18 by the Northwestern Wildcats. So the Hawkeye offense definitely found a bit of a rhythm last Saturday. David, what stuck out to you most about the performance on Saturday?
I'm going to say the offensive line play for Iowa. I mean, our offensive line play, we pretty well handled that defensive line and that defense of Northwestern. When I started looking at every statistical category, like the measurable things, we really just kind of dominated this game. My goodness, 4th down, we were 1 for 1. Total yards on offense, we had 398 compared to their 177. Passing yards, we outgained them 220 to 159. The rush yards, we outgained them as well. I mean, geez, what do we have? 178 to their 18 yards. Even go with the turnovers. They had 1. We had 0. Time of possession, we're at 31-44. They're at 28-16. First downs, we had 24. They had 16. This is a top to bottom, just complete domination of our team on another team. We really imposed our will. That was, I'm going to say, overall, we're talking an umbrella. That's what I saw that stuck out most. On every level, we really imposed our will on Northwestern. And like I said, it's a great thing for a team. It's a great confidence booster. It's something that they needed to have happen in the season, so they know what it is to go out there and just do that. And they'll come to expect it as they do it more often.
Yeah, no question. And it was definitely a display of what the Hawkeye team can be and what they have at their abilities and disposal. I believe there was 7 sacks in the game, so the defense got after them. You talked about the statistics, man. It was really a good, all the way well-rounded play by everybody involved. It was, especially being homecoming week. That's definitely how you want to be able to show against a team like Northwestern. So they did a tremendous job. 7 sacks, like I mentioned. But that Northwestern team was led by Brendan Sullivan, 23 for 30 passing, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, like you mentioned. So the Hawks did win the turnover battle, and a pretty high percentage of the time, I'd say somewhere around 70-80% of the time, between 70-80% of the time, teams that win that turnover margin win the game. And the Hawks were able to take away the ball, didn't give them the ball whatsoever. And we saw a lot of what was obviously with the score and how things ran, that the Hawks were able to take care of business in that way. Evan Hull, who I mentioned in the pregame, who is about 40% of their offense, was held in check. 11 carries for 32 yards, no touchdowns. He then had 5 catches for 25 yards and obviously no touchdowns. So held Northwestern's offense really in check between Brendan Sullivan and Evan Hull. And it was just impressive to see this Hawkeye defense that really just took it to these guys. I mean, we talk a number of times about, we all know Jack Campbell. He's the man in the middle. He's the preseason All-American. But to see some of the guys like Jay Higgins jump in there, Seth Benson, Seth has been doing a pretty tremendous job all season. But Jay Higgins, like I mentioned, he's been doing well. Cooper DeJean had 4 tackles. Jay Higgins actually led the team in tackling on Saturday. So it's a well-rounded game. Riley Moss did his thing. Deontay Craig had himself a sack. That young man came on the defensive front. And like I said, man, 7 sacks in the game by multiple people. And then the turnover by Kayvon Merriweather, the opportunistic turnover at the end of the half by Kayvon Merriweather. This defense is what it is, what it's been all season. It's been a top 10 defense all season and took care of business. Like you said, it'd been great to have the goose egg. We haven't jumped into the special teams, but I said, Torrey doesn't do that ever. Like, I think the fact that he was sitting there on the sideline may have affected him, but he had that shank. I'm sure he felt poorly about it, but certain things like that happen. And unfortunately, that was the situation and it gave up points. So they got to get that handled. And I know he'll refocus on taking care of that. But this Hawkeye defense, David, this Hawkeye defense did a tremendous job of staying after these guys and tackles for losses, sacks, all the like. Really got after them and shut this Northwestern Wildcat offensive attack down. So what was your take on what that defensive side of the ball did?
The defense does what they've always done. I mean, they just completely overwhelmed their opposition. And my God, the pressure, the 7 sacks, that defensive front really got up there. They controlled the tempo of the game. Put in perspective, we punted once all game, just one time. I'm looking here at Northwestern. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 punts in a game. That's a big deal for a team, especially one that's coming out and trying to reestablish some kind of momentum. For our defense to do that, for our offense to go out there and play what I'm going to call complementary football, to allow our defense to get rested and get back out there, it's huge. The defense, like I said, they come that third quarter, it was a kind of a, I don't know if we call it a short field. Well, that's exactly what it was because of the shank punt. But our defense does what they always do. They just kept fighting and fighting. A couple of interceptions that we were really close on. Kayvon got one. I know Riley was there for maybe one. I'm going to say one. I'm not going to say 2. But he was there. He could have had it. It's just right off his fingertips there. Where, the defense is just solid. They've always been solid this season. They were solid last year. Like I said, this year, I think they're actually better this year than what they were last year. We're just struggling a little bit on offense to make them stay fresh for the entire year. So, the defense just solid. I had no complaints really, other than I love to see them finish out the game with goose eggs all around. They looked really strong. That defensive line the relentless pressure.
Well, that's definitely what we saw. But what's crazy is that everything pretty much was right down the middle in terms of statistically. So they pretty much split right down the middle. I mean, time of possession was 31-44 in favor of the Hawks. It's only a minute and 44 over the amount of time that Northwestern had. The Northwestern actually ran one more play than the Hawkeyes, 67 compared to 66. They were 4 for 4 on fourth down, where the Hawks were 1 for 1. They were 7 for 17 on third down, where the Hawks were 5 for 11. So the hidden stats, the hidden numbers that are inside the game, the Hawks definitely dominated every facet of the game. And where we are most happy, and where I should say I'm most happy, the rushing totals for you said 178. You got an extra 5 yards somewhere. I got 173, but regardless, they dominated in that category. And the growth of, or what I should say, is the offensive line definitely seemed like they came together in this game. I know you mentioned it earlier, but let's reiterate what that looks like for this team and how that really opens up every facet of what you want to do offensively for the Hawks when it comes to being able to stay on the field and sustain drives, not to mention running the ball and play action and all that.
Yeah, running the ball, it does a lot, for a team. When you get that offensive line, and they can actually just start to lean heavy on that defensive line, they can start to control the tempo of the game. It essentially takes out the other team's ability to score because they are on the field, right? The more you can rush the ball, the more you can stay on the field, you just start churning up that clock as you're gaining yards, right? The other defense, the defensive line, they're getting tired because they have to react and then they also have to resist you. As an offensive lineman, you know exactly where you're going. You're always a half a step ahead. So you can kind of anticipate what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. If you can read the defense accurately, you're already light years ahead of them. As they get more experience, they'll be able to predict where everything's going to happen, how it's going to occur before it actually happens, and actually be there before it happens. That anticipatory behavior as an offensive lineman comes into it's really helpful as you get farther into the season and as you start paying teams, high caliber teams. No offense against Northwestern, but they were 1-6, and they're 1-6 for a reason. As you start playing more and more teams of a higher caliber, better talent, their tails are going to be less. You're not going to be able to see them as easily. Seeing this and being able to drive the ball, that really helps with the team's performance overall. The defense stays fresh, right? We can, as you said, play action pass, that works too. It opens up your offense to allow you to do more things out there on the field, and your defense, they'll be able to stay out there and hit the other offense in the mouth. Like you saw, 7 sacks. They're fresher. We're in the second half of the season. They're going to need some time to recover and recuperate. It takes a little bit longer. Having those sustained drives, being able to run the ball like that offensive line was able to do against this Northwestern D-line, and I was calling the front seven, that really just takes a lot of pressure off the entire team, right? That's just literally the nature of the game. It really comes down to that. Which O-line is really going to help sustain the drives and take the pressure off the defense and eat up the clock and take the pressure and impose their will on the other defense so that they get tired. And come the fourth quarter, their legs are shaking and they're tired and they can't get off the field, as opposed to it being our defense that can't get off the field, right? That's what having a good offensive line really does to a team and to a game as a whole.
Yeah, there's no question. Being able to sustain drives, being able to run the ball really sets up your play action game, really puts you in a position where it really just runs your whole offense. So it's definitely an area that we want to be able to win in, an area that we want to be able to control. Plus, you can control the clock. You control everything that happens. You can control the ebbs and flows of the game if you can run the ball. You can take somebody's soul. You can take a team's soul when you're able to do that consistently when they know it's coming and they can't do anything about it. They know it's coming. You can take somebody's soul that way. So, David, we'll wrap it up here. 4 games left in the schedule. This week they're going to be traveling to Purdue, out there to West Lafayette, Indiana, to take on those Boilermakers who have been playing rather well. Going to be a noon kickoff game out there. 4 games left in the schedule. They have to play, like I mentioned, they got to go to Purdue, but then they also have Wisconsin and they got to play Minnesota. And then lastly, they finish up with Nebraska at home. David, currently sitting at 4-4. Are these Hawkeyes able to get 2 wins and get a bowl game, get bowl eligible with the remaining schedule that's at hand?
Oh boy, I hope so. No, when you look at the rest of the schedule, Purdue has Charlie and Tyrone. They transferred over there, and now they're their leading receivers over there. They beat us last year, and that's without Charlie and Tyrone and Charlie being on our team, on Iowa. So that hurts a little bit. Purdue's definitely got it better. They have 1 game left to qualify for a bowl, and their next game is against us in West Lafayette. I'm pretty sure they're going to be amped up to come out there and beat us. And I think Charlie and Tyrone are going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder when they play against that Hawkeye defense. So we'll see. I don't know if Charlie's going to go back there and play special teams just as a special thing to do, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him do that. Wisconsin, it looks like they have figured out how to right the ship since they parted ways with their head coach, Mr. Chris, over there. So they're getting things figured out. That's not going to be an easy task. That's at least home for Iowa. So we'll see what happens there. That's going to be one of those games that establishing the run is going to be paramount. Minnesota, they are, wow, they're really tough. They look really good this year. I think that's I'm going to toss that out and say that's our W, and I think Nebraska's our W. We may be able to pick up one more against Wisconsin or Purdue, but it's really tough to tell, man. These last 4 games, I would have loved to have said that this is a slam dunk win, and I know a lot of people are saying we have the possibility of running the table. I just don't see it running the table. I really don't. I wish I did. What are you seeing?
Well, what I see is that they got 4 quality opponents left in the season. We will definitely jump into the next opponent later on this week in the Purdue Boilermakers, but they definitely have an opportunity. They didn't put themselves in the best position with what they've done thus far this season, but having 4 games and needing to get 2 wins out of those 4, anything can happen. And I have faith in the fact that what I saw on Saturday out of this offensive line, I saw out of Caleb Johnson, he hit the holes pretty well and he got downhill pretty well. LaShawn Williams came in and he looked pretty good as well. So they have 2 guys back there in the backfield that they feel comfortable and confident in that can start to carry the load. Those 5 guys across the front are starting to get more comfortable together. So, and if they could protect and keep Petrus, keep Spencer upright, I feel as though it really opens the door for some things to go well for the Hawks. So we'll all see. We know that. We're just talking, and this has been
right.
It's been a tough season thus far. But if they can mimic what they did this past weekend at home for homecoming against Northwestern, then have a great chance of winning. So we'll see.
So bowl game.
Are you putting the pressure on me to give you an answer? Sure. Yeah. We're going to bowl game. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're going to a bowl game.
What I will say is that they got a dogfight ahead of them against some very quality opponents. I mean, Wisconsin has bounced back very well. They had a very quality win against who did they beat? I guess it was Northwestern. I guess everybody's had a quality win against Northwestern. But Minnesota has been doing pretty well this season, and Purdue has had our number for the last couple of years. So we're going to a bowl game by the skin of our teeth, but it's not going to be an easy road to get there. So we'll see how it shakes out. With that, I'm going to go ahead and call it the day. I'm your host, Colin Cole. That's my co-host, David Porter. Appreciate you all for joining us, and God bless and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.